Hi, I'm Justin Smith, and this is the Listen Now campaign, which is an initiative from Tobin Brothers Funerals. And Tobin Brothers have a real passion around addressing mental health issues, particularly during this awful time of COVID. And throughout September, I'm going to talk to experts. I'm going to talk to people dealing with this crisis. And we'd love you to be involved, please. And just go to the hashtag on social media, any social media, the hashtag Listen Now. The first person I wanted to speak to was the managing director of Tobin Brothers Funerals, James MacLeod. James, when we were talking about this this time last year, I remember you saying to me that you had never seen anything like this, and you'd never seen things quite so bad. And here we are. We're still in it. How do you feel it is going now?
Well, I remember at the time I spoke to you last year, the particular day that we had 9 people in our care that had taken their lives, and a lot of people got tied down to the numbers of people taking their life. And what I'd like to say is that the suicide numbers have always been too high, and they continue to be too high, and that's regardless of whether we're in lockdown or not lockdown. They're just too high and not talked about enough. And I think that one of the things that we did last year was we gave people permission to talk about mental health, but more importantly, talk about suicide. And such was the communications that were received last year from a variety of people, husbands, wives, partners, parents of people who have taken their own life in years gone by, saying, thank you for giving the community permission to talk about it, because it's real. And we've felt like that we've trotted around on eggshells for so long.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea about the conversation, is just talking about it, because it is around us. And I like it, Justin, we talk about the road toll all the time. There's 160 deaths on the road last year, which is very tragic and far too many. But there were 700 suicide deaths in Victoria, and we spend very little time talking about that.
And what's worse is not talking about it. We are still talking about something that is preventable. You know, we see this, and we should be looking at it as a preventable thing, that if we can get to people, and if we can get people also reaching out, you know, we can pull that number right down. You know, it's something we just should be working at. It's not like a figure that we can't do anything about. Now, this is the frustrating bit, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's been a passion at Tobin Brothers for some years now. 5 years ago, we started off, which you were the host of, the first mental health show, dedicated, mindful, on Melbourne's #1 radio station, 3RW, to talk about it, to give people permission to talk about mental health. And you did it with other experts, and Jackie Lauder, a psychologist, and Major Brendan Noddle, who's on the streets every day, who really knows the mood of Melbourne. And that's what we're trying to do, is because it is treatable, there is answers, and we want to, as good community citizens, we want to try and help people to know that there is a way through this, and it doesn't need to end up where someone is in the care of our company. We, as I've said to you many times before, we want to be doing the funerals for people who have had long and fulfilling lives, and anything that we can do as a good community organisation to help get the message out there, that's what we want to do. And that's the whole reason for this podcast series.
I remember you saying that to me, the words that have really stuck with me, which is just, we are burying people who just should not be dead. There's few things that are as tragic as that, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've done a lot of tragic funerals over my career, for young people, for children, all sorts of tragedies. And but there's something about suicide that just there's just so many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
There's voids that just cannot be filled. I've journeyed with a lot of people over the years that have had family members that have taken their lives, and you just walk away with a great sense of emptiness about. And that's me as the funeral director. I can't fathom what it feels like to be someone that's walked beside that person during their life, being a parent, a partner, a brother, sister, a friend, of another family member. So we need to do more. We need to talk about it and give people permission to talk about it, because it's real. Well, over the next several weeks, Justin, I know that you're talking to a variety of people that will give people greater insights and to what's going on at the moment, particularly here in lockdown, and what's happening in the community. Give people some strategies, give them insights and some guidance, some help, give them some examples. And I think to reassure people, that's the most important thing, that they're not alone and that there are other people that are really struggling, and really give some good examples about what you can do in these situations and what help is available to you in the community. That's what we really want to highlight, and that's what we really want to support. That's the whole reason why we've run that mental health show, Mindful, for 5 years now, is to help people, because it is, as you quite rightly pointed out earlier on, mental health is treatable. There is help out there, and we want to help people to find that right help for themselves.
Yeah. And this time last year too, James, there was, we were trying to figure out when the end of this thing would be. We're trying to stay positive, to what the ending might be. And now, here we are a year later after those discussions, but, some 18 months down the track from longer, from COVID. We've got to, while we're still searching for a way out of this, we've got to find those positives, haven't we? Because if we don't, we're going to be in some strife.
Yeah, it's absolutely, and it's that's the focus of the series, is to try and find some positives, and to try and to help some people out there that need some help. I remember last year, Justin, we received a lot of feedback from this series, and one of the pieces of feedback that you got personally was that this series helped a person who was considering taking their own life last year.
I remember that very well.
That's so let's not underestimate the power of what something like this can do and the help that it can provide to people out there. We're not pretending to walk in anyone else's shoes, but we're trying to identify a number of things that we know are going on in the community, and hopefully assist a number of people along the way too.
And to keep that message going, that look, if you need help, you're not alone. If you need help, make sure that you're reaching out for it and you're grabbing it, wherever you can, whether you're doing it with your mates or somebody professional. It's kind of, get the help any way you can at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. My friendship group, 5 o'clock on a Sunday night, we get together on house party, half a dozen of us, and and that's what we do. And some have a few beers and we have a few laughs. We do it for an hour, but we do that every Sunday night, and that's just that's something that's helped each one of us. It's something to look forward to. It's a bit of banter, etc. But I think that it's important to say to people, it's okay to feel not okay at the moment. Yeah. It's really okay. It's okay to be feeling like you can't see a way out of this. It's okay to feel like that, but it's equally okay to be reaching out for help, because there's so much help out there. And it all starts, I think, with our GPs, who are just fantastic people, great reference points. And they can refer you to the right people. They're a wealth of knowledge. I mean, everyone who's running in and getting a jab at the moment, if they're getting a jab with their doctors, they should be, having to talk to them about how they're actually doing overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think that that's really, really important at the moment, that we wherever we need or feel we can get help, whether it's mates, whether it's professionals, just the important thing is to pick up the phone and do it.
And I think the other thing too is not to judge. I think we've become with the politics that's caught up in this, and and some people that are really struggling to survive, to keep their own jobs and to keep themselves intact, there seems to be a lot of judgment that's kicked in for me, James. I'd love to sort of see that change, as we go into this next phase.
Yeah, a lot of people have got a little bit too much time on their hands at the moment, it would seem, I just think that what we've got going on at the moment is right for people to be down and to feel down, and to feel not well. I mean, I don't pretend to walk in anyone else's shoes, but you do look at what parents are doing at the moment with homeschooling. I mean, that's just must be so taxing on parents. People who are primary caregivers to others, people who've got loved ones in hospitals, and we see that every day. I took a call from a friend of mine I went to school with today, and his mum has just died. She'd been in hospital for 3.5 weeks. He hadn't seen her once in 3.5 weeks. There's all these other things that are going on. So we don't walk in anyone else's shoes. And so it's therefore we should be, less judgmental than ever at the moment, I think, because we don't know what's going on in anyone's life or what they're dealing with. And I think that, it's a time for kindness, as I repeat. It's a time for kindness and not being judgmental.
Yeah, damn right. Damn right. And look, we'll, up on the screen and connected with this, we'll always have the numbers that you can call and that you can, reach out, to people that, if you need help right now. So, I would just say, use them. If you're feeling it, just make sure that you use them. Don't be afraid. That's what these people do. That's why these services exist. Just make sure you use them.
Yeah. And I think that, it's, whilst the numbers are alarming that are ringing the likes of Lifeline and what have you, isn't it fantastic that we've got a resource like Lifeline available there 24/7 for people to pick up the phone and have a yak to? And I think that's great that people that are doing that. Equally, you've got your GPs, we've got a variety of medical people that can assist you, and don't be afraid to speak to your employer. Don't be afraid to speak to your colleagues, to your friends, to your family. But make sure you speak up. Put your hand up. Speak up. And it's all right to be not okay at the moment. And there is help available. And just shout out, because we'll get through this. But we need a bit of help to get through this, and it's important that we reach out to those that can give us a hand to get through.
Well, James, I really want to say, look, to you and your team that are pulling this all together. Well done for you doing this, because I know full well, after many of the discussions that I've had with you and your team, this is not something that you have done for any form of commercial gain or for any publicity. This is something that you perform as a public service, and I think you should really be applauded for that. Tobin Brothers and you personally should be applauded for doing that. These are tough things to talk about, that we're going to be doing over the next few weeks, but well done to you, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. I think that I go back to, what we referred to before. One person reached out to you last year that contemplated taking their life. So, for every life that this program assists, and every person is struggling with assist, I mean, that's the whole aim of it. And we'll get through this, and we want to help people get through. So thank you, and really excited about the series that's going to be commencing over the coming days and running for the next several weeks, and particularly the people that you're interviewing. It's a tremendous list of people that really share wonderful stories.
Yeah, it is. Look, it is an impressive list. People who really know what they're talking about, and people who are sharing their personal stories. And I'm very much looking forward to doing it. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Justin.